Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Doug D back here with another episode in the Peak Creators Education Series. And today we're going to be talking about what it takes to launch a successful program on Peak, and specifically how to tailor your programs towards specific needs. So for those of you who don't know me, I am the CEO at Peak. I also run Shrine Development, which is an agency that works with Fortune 1000 companies and also a few startup unicorns. And then outside of work, I keep myself quite busy. Currently split my time between Michigan and Florida. You can see the crew there on the home front. Got my beautiful wife Melissa, and got my kids, and then not pictured are my two lovely dogs. So certainly keep busy, and meditation has been hugely successful and beneficial to me, which is part of the reason that I'm so excited to be launching Peak and working with you all. Our core lesson here, as we were doing research in launching Peak, was that really people want to feel appreciated, they want to feel heard. And this is a lesson that applies in all of life, but we thought we wanted to talk with creators about it because as you're launching programs, this is something that's good to keep in mind. Because one of the things that we've gotten as a point of feedback is that people love the idea of Peak, they love the demo, but they're like, what exactly do I launch? And so this is a core understanding that we've had in our research, and we want to share it with you, which is that everyone appreciates feeling heard, and we believe that you need to be very specific on how you are messaging your programs so that way your audiences feel like you're speaking directly to them. And so I'm going to talk to you about a framework that was put together by a guy named Gino Wickman. And Gino Wickman has created something called the Entrepreneur's Operating System. So this is a business framework that's very similar to an operating system that you install in a computer, except instead of code, it is business systems and processes and tools. And so Gino Wickman created the Entrepreneur's Operating System, and it's been very successful out in the market. He's sold over 2 million books on the topic. They report that they have 190,000 companies running on EOS. We personally run on EOS inside of Shrine. And I've seen reports where I've seen examples of companies 10xing their business using Entrepreneur's Operating System. And I don't think it's quite 10x our business yet, but it's absolutely been hugely beneficial. And so as part of the Entrepreneur's Operating System, they have a sales system and a marketing system. And so that's where these lessons are coming from. I wanted to provide you all some context as to where I'm getting this data. And one of the core points that Gino Wickman makes in his book is that you have to embrace uniqueness in the sales process. And you can't go broad in the sense of you can't just offer something and have no idea who's going to buy it. This might sound like common sense, but I've seen in my career where companies or creators get very excited about what they're doing and they're like, I'll just put it out in the world and then people just come to me, right? Build it and they will come. And that's just not true. It's just not how it works in those cases. And so what we wanted to do here was provide a solid framework for you all that gives you the mindset of how to create programs and how to embrace this uniqueness. Because ultimately people buy from people. Earlier in my career I thought, oh, it's business to business sales, or it's, creator to people. It's just, there's different relationships, but ultimately it comes down to people buy from people. And people have the desire to feel unique and significant. And so it's important to understand I'm calling them buyers here, but this could be your audience, your listeners, your community members, right? I'm just using a general term here. But I think it's really important to get inside their inner monologue, understand, okay, what are they thinking? And then present an offering that is unique and significant to them, that's uniquely targeted and significant to that person in mind. And so that doesn't mean that your offering can't apply to a lot of people, but in the beginning especially, because again, we're launching something new here, we want to be very specific and intentional about what we're doing. So this is, again, some of the benefits here are people, your audience, your community members are going to appreciate the personalized experience. It's going to build a more legitimate and stronger connection with that audience. And it's going to allow you to establish a niche and then expand out. Because my biggest point of concern when I'm talking to people about Peak is that they're going to launch programs and we're going to say, who does this apply to? And they're like, well, it could be everyone. And yes, that might be true. However, if you're launching something new, or even if you're launching something that is not quite new to your audience, but it's new to Peak, we want to be very specific, right? We want to start here, establish a niche, and then expand out. So that's the core lesson. If you get nothing else from this video, get that lesson. Please try to find a specific target audience that you think will love this program. Not just like it, love it, and then expand out. Right? If that's all you get from this video, awesome, love it. If you want to learn more about our proposal on how you go about this, then continue to watch. But that is a huge warning sign, is when I hear that people want to launch programs that they are just going to throw it out there and see what happens. That doesn't quite work when you're launching new programs. And so here's our target market framework. So step number 1 is you got to define your audience. Step number 2 is you need to understand your audience. Then you need to craft content to match your audience's reality, right? Match their mindset, their reality. And then you want to boost it by giving additional support and bonuses that really make it clear to the person that this program is meant for them and they will have success with this program. So let's cover some definitions first. Demographics, who are they? Geographics, where are they? And psychographics, how they think. So I'll be using these terms a few times, but this is the core of how you target an audience. Demographics, geographics, psychographics. We're going to cover them at a surface level, but I just want to make a note that you can go quite deep on this stuff. I'm not going to do it in this presentation, but you can go very deep on it, especially the psychographics. So step number 1, define your audience. So you want to define your target audience and think about their specific needs. So first off, who are you targeting? Are you targeting people who are looking to use meditation to get more focus? Are you looking to put out tracks that help people sleep? Are you looking to put out programs to help them with their relationships? Again, it might be that your program can target multiple audiences, but the point I'm trying to make is you want to at least start somewhere and then build upon it. Because if your target market or your target audience is everyone in the world, it's going to be very hard to make that successful on peak, because how do we market that, right? How do we spread the good word about this? So define who they are. And then I would start with the 2 easiest one, demographics and geographics. Geographics, in the modern age with the internet, this one is a little less important. I'd say it's the least important is geographics. The demographics does absolutely matters. Age, gender, and then their background. And so it's important just write these things down. And again, you can always switch them later. I'm not saying that we pick a path and then that's the only path we take, or the only audience that we select. I'm saying just start someplace, list it out, because if you can't list your ideal audience, then that's going to be really hard to message out to the world, because you're not going to know who you're talking to. Step number 2 is going to be understanding them. So you have your list of people, and then now work to gather insights about their preferences. This is the psychographics. So what are their interests? What are their hobbies? Who do they talk to? What are their daily routines, right? What are their challenges? What are they stressing about? What are they anxious about? What do they love? What do they hate? Just try to get into the mindset, because then you can speak to them. Because if you just speak about what you do, it's not going to connect. And know their goals, right? Because if you're going to establish, I talk about this jobs to be done framework by Clayton Christensen. But really, if you think about it, people are listening to your program, they're sort of hiring it to do a job. The example we'll mention a little bit is the Stop Smoking program, but it could be better sleep, right? They're hiring your program to get them better sleep. They're hiring your program to make them a little less anxious. I love this terminology because as creators, because while I'm not a music creator, I'm a software developer, and it's the same sort of mindset. And so again, I'm using my own framework as I'm talking to you all. One of the biggest sources of frustration is that you're going to build very awesome programs, and then people aren't going to recognize the genius of it, because you'll be so focused. You'll be like, wow, this is the best audio ever. The frequencies that I use here are the best. The hertz I use the best. The production value is amazing. I use these amazing techniques, but then no one listens to it. And it's very frustrating, right? And it's because chances are, if that's the case, that people didn't know what job to hire your program to do. Okay, you had amazing frequencies and you're using binaural beats, but why should people care, right? What in their daily life is going to get better by listening to your track? On YouTube, in the algorithm, I think there's a large enough audience. There's enough people who are just legitimately curious about binaural beats that you might get a couple 100,000 views, just because the job to be done is people are interested in binaural beats. And so they'll give your track a listen. But there are multiple things that creators in general have to worry about, right? There's reach, there's quality, and then there's like the depth of the relationships, right? Or becoming an authority. And I believe that Peak really is going to shine on the authority aspect. It's going to make our creators best known in the industry because the programs are going to be so awesome. And then the quality of conversations you're going to be able to have is going to be really, really strong because you're going to have an all-in-one platform where you can let people experience these awesome audios and then see the community interactions. And then you're going to be able to tailor your programs based on their feedback, and it's going to build very deep, long-standing relationships. That's my hope for Peak. And so I think that's why it's so important for people to understand their audiences, define them, and understand them. And so again, it's a different beast than, say, Spotify. If this was Spotify and we were just trying to go really broad, then I wouldn't be giving this presentation. But based on our research and our discussions with Peak, I think this is really important. This is very key. So step 3 is if you define your audience, you understand them, then you can create the content for them. So for instance, you might want to consider some of the blockers to people listening to programs or their mindsets. And so are they going to be someone who's rushed, a business executive who needs like a short track? Or is this going to be someone who is looking to meditate for many hours and they want a longer track? You should try to address some of their roadblocks. So for instance, if your program is something that you need to have headphones for, then I would address that and put that in the support documentation. Or if it's something that you believe people need to listen to 5 times before they get value, then list that, right? Like try to help them overcome some of the roadblocks and challenges they're going to face. And then also just provide them support. So for instance, if they're a group of people who are looking to get over relationships, then provide what you think in your best of your experience is going to be the unique way they can connect and share their experiences. So again, this is going to vary by track. It's going to vary by creator. This is going to be something that you're going to have to understand between you and your audiences. We can provide you guidelines. However, it is going to have to be something that's tailored to you and your audiences. However, please reach out to me if you have any questions. Would love to have these conversations. So step number 4 is to boost the value that you give people. And so what we're looking to do here is really make it clear to people that you got their backs, right? That you're providing them not just awesome audios, but you're providing guides, you're providing support materials, community support. And you really want to foster a long-term engagement with them. And with them, that's really key. Like you want to speak to that direct individual who you define, that audience, and really make it clear you want to engage with them. And then I would also include success stories from people who are just like them to show how it can work for them. And so these should not be gimmicks. This is not adding a bunch of stuff that you don't need. I can sense that people are worried that if you bundle too much stuff together, it's going to seem gimmicky. And that's just because in some industries they do that, but that's not how we do things here at Peak. So please don't worry about that. And so your add-ons should make the person more likely to succeed. They should either make them more likely to succeed, they should lower the effort required for success, or they should get them results faster. So again, this is the target market framework. Define your audience, understand your audience, craft your content, and boost the value. So let's go through an example of creating tailored content. So we're going to use a theoretical example from a creator named Jason Andrews. The problem we're going to try to address is smoking, and the solution is a Stop Smoking Now audio program. Jason does have this program, however, I just want to be clear that some of these ideas are sort of illustrative in nature, theoretical examples. First, define your audience. Do some research. Here we came across the CDC has awesome statistics about this. The market is going to be in the US, the gender is going to be men, and the age is going to be 45 to 64. So a great example. Why is it 45 to 64? Well, this is what our research says is the most common age group that's trying to quit. Sort of makes sense for people that are going to be in the market to quit smoking and then also open to an audio program. It's going to skew older. I just don't see many 18 or 19 year olds, right, trying to quit smoking and then using audio programs as their solution. So understand that, doing additional research, people who smoke are most likely to be, it's actually highest among people who are divorced and separated or widowed. So they might be single, so they might need that community aspect more than if you're trying to solve a different program. They also have distress in their lives, and then also they're going to typically be on the lower to medium income. So that means that this program has to be typically short and sweet, and this is not something where people are going to be able to pay $10,000 to $15,000 for a program, right? So I think audio programs is a great way to solve this. And I should mention, when I say solve, I'm not making a medical claim. I really should say assist in this problem. These programs can assist in this effort, similar to how having a conversation can assist, right? very important we don't make any medical claims or anything that ventures into the cures business. This is an aid that assists. So step number 3, we're going to craft content to their reality. So we're going to come up with short sessions, right, to help them overcome their cravings. We're going to provide practical techniques to overcome obstacles like anxiety, right, because if they stop smoking, maybe they have anxiety afterwards. And then also we will try to provide any sort of support we can around managing withdrawal or common emotional challenges. So again, this doesn't have to be all stuff that you come up with. This could be, hey, here's a guide that's put out by the CDC on how to handle the withdrawal symptoms. It could be putting together documentation on like, hey, here are different websites you can go to, or here are certain certified therapists that could help you with these challenges. It doesn't have to be all just resources that you create. It can also be gathering resources from the outside world. But in the context of Peak, it's the idea that you would provide support documentation. Hey, here's a guide on how to use the program. Here are some common concerns. Here's why you have to worry about them or you don't have to worry about them. It's providing that community support, and then also long-term strategies to make sure people are successful and they have sustained success with your program. And so, for instance, you could have an additional track. Okay, once you stop smoking, maybe you're going to have social anxiety. So there's a program for social anxiety that can help you there. So this is what it would look like. So you have the Stop Smoking Now program. That's the base sort of program. You get the PDF on how to get started. You get access to the community. Jason could choose to throw in, he's got an anxiety solution program. He could throw that in there. And then for people who really wanted to go all the way in, he could offer discounts on hypnotherapy sessions, which he offers. And so that's like sort of a very complete program, right? I mean, just to wrap this up here, if you look at where we started, we had a program and an audience, and we built out a fully tailored program to that audience, and this is something you completely launch inside of Peak. And so I think this is a great example of a program that will be successful should we choose to launch it. Well, that's all I have for today. If you're signed up, thank you for joining us on our journey. If not, please head over to peak.audio/creators and give it a look.